I have found that the heart is going to take on a new shape in the future.
Mhm.
And the new form that will come, okay, also comes from the Chestahedron in the same process. So you want to see it?
Would love to see. Welcome to Holistic Wisdom Live. My name is Elena, and today I have an absolute honor to bring to you a very special guest, Frank Chester. And just to give you a background, actually, last year I wrote a blog on Chestahedron. And the reason I was searching for sacred geometrical patterns is last year I actually completed writing my book on sacred geometry, the ultimate healing tool. And after the book was completed, I so wish that I included, Frank, by the way, your work in my book, but the book was already completed. And then, of course, I stumbled upon your incredible discovery from the year of 2000. And I thought, wow, I have to write a blog about your work. And then just last week, you reached out to me. You happened to read my blog, and it's a wonderful honor for me to interview you today. So for those people who don't know who you are, I'm going to give a little background. So Frank is an artist, sculptor, and geometrician who lives in San Francisco. He has taught art for more than 30 years in high school and colleges. Frank has been exploring the relation between form and spirit. In 2000, he discovered a new geometrical form never seen before. The geometric form demonstrates remarkable correlation to the form and function of the human heart, the Chestahedron. And I thought before we begin, I have a poem. I wanted to read this poem because it's very much related and inspired by Plato and what we're going to talk about today. So here it is. Geometry, a silent guide where unseen truth and forms reside, a bridge between the night and day, where finite lines to stars give way. In circles, traces by heaven's hand, lies knowledge vast, forever planned. The golden spiral, winding tight, unfolds the code of cosmic light. Through sacred shapes, the soul may see the echoes of eternity. A triangle strength, as spheres embrace, reveal the laws of time and space. The universe, a woven thread of perfect angles, softly spread. In every fractal, life is spun, a whispered song of all that's one. So gaze upon the sacred art and feel its rhythm in your heart. For in these forms, both great and small, resides the mind that made us all. So, welcome, Frank. Thank you for being here. I know we were having some technical issues with sound today, so you can unmute yourself, and I'm going to mute myself.
That was very nice. Thank you. All right, so I'll start out with just giving a little background about how it all started. Would that be okay? Okay, so I retired from teaching when I was 59 years old, and I had been given a book about Goethe, and it was real interesting. I knew about him because of his play Faust, but I didn't know he was a scientist. So there was a course being offered called uh, Goethean Science. So I decided, well, I got to take that. That would be a nice thing to do to celebrate my retirement. So I did. um, Now, I have to tell you that the heart is the main objective here, but that wasn't what I wanted. I had no idea about the Platonic forms, which I was being taught in this class, and the heart had no connection whatsoever. I've been a teacher. Okay, I'm majored in art. So anyway, just to show you what I learned in that class was that there were platonic solids. Okay. You can see those? Yeah? Okay. So the woman said that these were they were universal laws of inner structure. Universal laws of structure. Okay. So this one was an octahedron. This had eight sides, 12 edges. This one had 6 sides, which is a cube, and it also had 12 edges. So I asked her, well, where's the 7th? And she said, there isn't one. So I said, well, okay, why not? And she says, because it doesn't work. There's nothing that works. I said, okay. So I went home to my apartment and immediately started working on it to try to figure out, what's the deal here? So sure enough, there wasn't anything 7 because I looked in all the books, did all the research. There wasn't any of them. So I started a process that was very crude, elementary. And after about 3 months, I figured out how to make a 7-sided form, and I have it. This is the first one I made. Here it is. It took me 3 months to figure this out. And I have a whole series of things I went through to get this. So one thing I noticed about it is that it had a triangle at the bottom and 3 on the side. Okay, and then there was this kite shape. Well, that was 7. But I thought, well, what is this? This was kind of crude. So what I realized that this bottom here could be a tetrahedron, the bottom. So a tetrahedron has 4 triangles, and there's the tetrahedron. It's 4 triangles. So I saw that there was these triangles here. Okay. Now all the platonic forms fit into each other. Now that fits in there. So I did something that no one has ever done with platonic forms. And here I have here it is. I took a platonic form, the tetrahedron, and I opened it up. Can you see where it's white? See that? That's a tetrahedron opening up. And so I made it, and here it is. This is what it looks like. I painted this blue one here. I painted it the opposites red. Okay, so the red is the octahedron, and this blue is what happens when you open up the tetrahedron. Now, what I was shocked at was that somebody sent me this. Another friend sent me a picture of a tetrahedron. Okay, and this tetrahedron, okay, is, you can see that the person tried to open it up. You can see it's left open. It's not glued. And you see that part. Right there is where it opens up. I had never seen anyone open up a tetrahedron ever before in all the 25 years I've been working on this, except this one, which was sent to me a month ago. And I asked this person, where did this come from? She said, this is a picture of the tetrahedron on Goethe's desk. Oh my gosh, it means that Goethe was working with a tetrahedron and it's not glued together. But no one has ever opened up one of these one of these platonic forms in a cube. Okay, Goethe's was not in a cube, but this is. So I opened it up, all the way and look like this. This becomes, the Chestahedron becomes turned, you take the tetrahedron and you turn it, and as you turn it, the triangles get smaller and the blue shape gets bigger. And that's as far as it'll go. So then what I did was to take this one, here it is, and try to turn it back so that the blue and the red would be the same size, okay? And that's what I did, and I found out that I could get the blue and the red the same size, and here it is. In the cube, the red and the blue are the same size. That means that this Chestahedron has equal surface areas, and it does. So do the Platonic forms. They have equal surface areas. This is the major discovery. So if I put these back again, there's the Chestahedron. The Chestahedron, okay, is in the middle. Now what's so fantastic is that this also has 12 edges. It has 12 edges, just like these. All the surfaces are equal, just like this. Okay. And all the edges that go around, okay, are not. They're not equal. But they are on these. They all are equal. So it's not a Platonic form, and it's not a Platonic form because it has two shapes. These only have one shape. Squares. One shape. Triangles. This has two. And what it's done is it's taken half of this, which are quadrilaterals, and half of this, which are triangles, and now you have 4 triangles from this, and 3 squares, quadrilaterals from this, so it combines the two. It combines these two, which is just fantastic that I was able to find that. So this is the first in the world that is between two Platonic forms, and this is called an interval. This is like the black key on the piano. It's between two notes. This is right in between half, and it has the characteristic of both. All right, so there's 3 ways to look at the Chestahedron. Okay, so one thing I want to point out is that all the things that you've seen and all this work that I did for 3 years, nothing to do with the heart, nothing whatsoever. I had no intention. There was no intention. I had no interest in dealing with the heart anyway. I didn't know anything about it except I got one. So I started to look to see where else maybe this form would be. I still don't know about the heart. Okay, so I found out that I could make it here out of the vesica. Now, I don't know if you know what the vesica is, but the vesica is 2 circles, that 2 spheres that are overlapping, and it makes an olive shape. Okay, this is known as the vesica. So between here and here, it made the Chestahedron. It made the Chestahedron. So the vesica is involved in the Chestahedron. So if I take the bottom triangle off, see there? And then what I do is I just bend it, and there's the kite. And here's the triangle. Isn't that amazing?
It's incredible.
Now, what happened with this one is that all of the surface, the edges that go around the Chestahedron, okay, were 12, but now this is 2, this is 1, this is 1. So this is 2, okay, this is 2, and this is 2, and this is 2. So what it means is that it can be made or drawn from a vesica. So here's the drawing of showing how that works with the vesica. Now, vesica is really important because it's one of the ancient, very powerful geometries. And that I can relate to. The Chestahedron can be made from the vesica. It can be made from the vesica. Imagine that. I can take a vesica, and you can too, and you can make a Chestahedron. You don't need a cube. So the next way, I thought, well, I'm going to try something else because it looks like a pentagram. So I took a pentagram, 5 planets. Here it is. And I made the geometry of it, and the reason it has all these lines and so forth is because the drawing I made to find this was here. So there are 3 stars, 3 pentagrams, and they're intertwining together into a tetrahedron, which makes another tetrahedron. So if I take the center part out of the pentagram and I fold it up, it makes a chestahedron.
Wow.
What do you think of that? That's not something else. Okay, so then I thought, well, I got to make this out of line edges. I'm going to just make it out of edges. Here's the chestahedron, edges only.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing in between. Yeah? So when I spun this, okay, it turned into a bell.
Yes.
Look at that. Isn't that amazing?
Amazing.
I showed this to a Russian bell expert where I live. And when I showed him this, he just about fell out of his chair. And I said, well, what's wrong? He says, well, the Russians make the best bells in history, and we don't know the geometry. Here it is. So then what happened, I made the geometry of the bell. I also made to find out what was inside the bell. And then this happened. I saw this. Okay. This is in the temple of the pyramid of Hathor. And Hathor,
Yeah, the Dendera temple. Mm-hmm. Temple Hathor.
She's something else. So what's amazing about Hathor is her facial, her head shot is in a cube. Oh my gosh, what's going on here? So what happens is in the temple, this is in this particular temple, the women go to give birth. Okay, and in the sky above everything, there's Princess Nut. She's a princess of the night sky, and she swallows the moon, and then 9 months later, she gives birth to the sun, and from the sun come all these bells. Okay, now, so I made one of these bells, the Chestahedron bell, and here it is. This is the Chestahedron bell. So this is the bell that is from this. Okay.
And by the way, for people, I was going to say, people who don't know, Hathor represents the cosmic hell, literally the Milky Way from which everything is birthed.
Yeah. Now, what I did is I blew up the bell to see what they look like. Here they are.
Wow.
Here's the bell.
That's amazing.
Unbelievable.
Yes.
This is 4,500 years ago. How they come up with this? Well, they had. I didn't show you this yet, but at the bottom, all the bells are coming into Hathor, which is a cube. You don't find many cubes done in Egypt at all. So I want to read you a couple quotes, since this is pretty important. Okay, this is from a book called At the Gates of Spiritual Science. This is by Rudolf Steiner. Okay, here's what he says. Now, where did he get this? Okay. Okay, they're talking about that. He's talking about the astral body, which is before we come into manifestation, if you think this way. And he says that the bells, okay, they all form a six-pointed figure, two interlaced triangles. They are bells. So the Chestahedron has those intertwined triangles. There they are. There's the Chestahedron. In the middle of the Chestahedron is a six-pointed star. So these are the two triangles that he's talking about. And this is exactly at the heart level. If you sit in a meditation chamber, this six, okay, is right where the heart level is. And of course, this is a symbol for the heart chakra. And the heart chakra has 12 petals around it. The Chestahedron has 12 edges. So another thing here in the book says the clairvoyant sees another particular remarkable set of shapes. They are bell shapes, and they shoot through the astral space with enormous speeds. They are germinal human beings, not yet incarnated, but striving for incarnation. The bell-shaped form is made up of the body, the forces of the earlier astral body, and the new one. The reason why they dart around at such enormous speeds that they're searching for the parents and the suitable characteristics and family circumstances of incarnation. So these bells, okay, now I have an indication how we got the heart here somehow. Because we're not incarnating with our feet, we're incarnating with our heart, or not our kidneys.
It's the first organ that develops. In utero, it's the first organ. The heart is the first organ that develops.
It is. And another thing about the heart is that the blood is circulating in the embryo before the heart beats. And the heart pulsates before blood runs through it in the embryo. What is happening here? Okay. So another way I found the Chestahedron was in the flower of life. It fits in the flower of life. And there it is, the Chestahedron. And the six-pointed star is exactly in the middle of the seed of life. That's another ancient geometry that's impossible to find a form that will do that, that there isn't one. Okay. So I'm trying to give you the different ways that the Chestahedron comes into being. So the last one I give you is the computer design of the Chestahedron. Here it is. It doesn't close at the top. The quadrilateral, the triangle, and the quadrilateral are perfectly equal according to the computer. Okay, but they don't fit together. They don't come together at the apex. Okay, so now
Would
How
you
can this
say,
form
it's
possibly
a
be?
thought that I had, would you say that the Chestahedron is actually the form that connects every other form? So, for example, to go from one shape to the other, it goes through the Chestahedron.
Well, that's an interesting question. I don't know where he came up with that. That's really good. Because you see, here's the Chestahedron, right? It's in edges only, right? Edges only. Okay. So like I told you that this comes from a tetrahedron, right? Huh? Comes from a tetrahedron. So if you take the tetrahedron and you take it back to its original position, okay, it is a tetrahedron. You see what happened?
Yes.
So what you had to say was correct, because from here it goes into an octahedron, which is this one, and then it goes to the tetrahedron.
So it's sort of like an interval between each shape. It's what helps create the form.
It's an interval. Yes.
It informs each form into beingness.
Well, at least the two basic ones that come into the world, which is the tetrahedron and the octahedron. These are the first two that enter the world.
And the vesica as well.
Yes. So it's amazing, don't you think? I mean, this is
Incredible.
the first one that comes in. This is known as warmth. This one is known as air. Okay. This one's all about. These two will make up the heart. Okay. So we have warmth, where okay, was all about empathy and feeling and so on. And the octahedron is air, which is all about knowledge, wisdom. These are the things that the heart carries, and it's part of the heart. And this is being able to be proven through a structure, a universal structure, okay, so that a lot of people who say about the heart is empathy and all about the heart is wisdom, they're right. They're right structurally. Isn't that amazing? They're right. So, I have found that the heart is going to take on a new shape in the future. Yeah. And I found it out through the process of how the form changes from the tetrahedron to the octahedron to the chestahedron, and which is the human heart, the chestahedron. And the new form that will come, okay, also comes from the chestahedron in the same process. So you want to see it?
Would love to see.
It's the first time I've ever shown it.
Wow.
Well, here it is in edges only again. Don't mean to drive you nuts, but they're with these edges. But that's the way it looks. So I made it in a form. There's the form. This is the form that the new heart may take. Okay, which has values in itself. This form has never been seen before. Okay, so here is the new form. So where does the new form come from? New form comes from the Chestahedron.
And why do you feel the new form will take place?
What's that?
Why do you feel the new form is going to take place?
When?
When and why?
Well, that's a good question, which I don't know. But I do know that it will gradually take that shape if it follows the sequence that I first showed you that goes into a tetrahedron. If you follow that sequence, this is correct.
How many sides is that shape?
What?
How many sides is this shape, new shape?
The size would be approximately the same size. It won't be this big. It'll have this shape.
No, but how many sides will it have?
This has 10 sides.
10. Okay.
10. Not 7 anymore, but 10. It's growing not only in size, but it's also changing its shape. But it still has the apex. It still has the apex down here. Okay. The valves, both the mitral and the aortic valve, are the same size as the Chestahedron. Okay. So what happens is that the apex is a little longer, the end. That means that the volume of the heart will grow. The volume it will hold more blood. And so my way of thinking about this is that in that it has more blood in it, okay, because it's the organ that holds more blood than any organ, okay, the heart will slow down and less blood will come out, will be needed, okay. So that's exactly what we have to work on with our heart that we have, is that under a stress and panic, we must not speed the heart up. We need to slow it down during those times. And in that way, okay, we can develop the capacity to handle all stress and not have to have attacks and panic attacks, and so forth and so on. You can have a more healthy heart because the heart is trying to balance two polarities. Okay, it's not like the brain, 0 and 1, or just 2. Okay, the heart's based on 3 on the vesica. So it's trying to balance both the right and the left ideas that we may get polarized with. And that could take any form anyway. It can be political, it can be artistic, it can be the way we fish, or the way we play cards, is that we get caught in polarities, which hurts the heart. The heart doesn't like that, but the heart's there to help to bring those polarities together. So that's one of the major discoveries that I've found based on the geometry. Now, a lot of your guests may think, well, this Chestahedron doesn't look like a heart. Well, the reason it doesn't is because it's the structure, it's the original plan, it's the blueprint, it's the archetype, the original idea behind our physical heart. So if I take the Chestahedron and put it through a natural process, it takes on the shape of our heart. So the seven-sided form, if I blow a bubble in it, the bubble is the shape of the human heart. And that's how nature works. So if you take that, and I have 2 pictures, this is the real heart. This has the main part, which is the Chestahedron here, which is the left ventricle. If I take the right ventricle off, this is how it looks. It's just exactly like the bubble. So now I have the ideal shape geometrically that can turn into an organic form.
I'm still thinking about what you've presented. Okay, you go ahead and then I'll ask you a question.
Yeah, well, this is the shape of the heart. And I had cardiologist surgeon come over here from the Mayo Clinic, and he said that he's always thought that the heart was more triangular in shape. Well, he ought to know. So here's the mitral valve and this aortic valve on the side, and here's the apex. And then there's the Chestahedron in the cube. I take it out. There's the inside design and the outside. And I was able to move them. The geometry can move.
Incredible. Do you want to explain why heart is not the pump?
Well, it's only obvious that an organ the size of your fist could do all the things that it's supposed to do with the blood. How many miles it's supposed to go to finish one circulation, and it's just everything is so against it being a pump by what the heart actually, or what's going on. So to me, what I found is that the heart is not a pump. What it is it's a governor, it's a regulator. What it does is it allows a certain amount of blood to go through it at a certain speed, depending on what the organs need. So if one organ is in need of more blood, then the heart is allowed to appropriate that amount that's needed to go to that organ. So the blood is running on its own, okay? And it's running through the heart. And the heart is just there. It's not working. It's just kind of relaxed. And it's just allowing a certain amount of blood to go where it's needed. Okay, so it's not pumping at all. For instance, there was a man who had a pacemaker in him, okay? And from the outside of the body, you can control how much the pacemaker moves. So if you want to make it go faster, you can make it go faster or slower. So they did ran an experiment, and the faster they made the heart go with the pacemaker, the less and less blood came through. So if you speed the heart up, less blood comes out. If you slow it down, more blood comes out. Now, it's not a pump. What kind of pump is that? That you speed it up and it slows the flow of blood. I mean, anyways, there's a lot of things out there that are showing. A lot of people are starting to realize that it may not be a pump. And in my view of what the Chestahedron does, it controls the speed of the blood. That's what the heart does. But it does that through the feeling of all the other organs. Remember, every organ is a temperament, and every temperament has a feeling. Okay? So what we are supposed to do here is to work on our temperaments. We're supposed to transform our temperaments, which means to transform one of the organs. So this is what the heart is trying to do, is to help that organ transform itself, which is what we're all here to do.
So the heart is the maestro or the conductor of the orchestra.
Exactly. Well, I don't know if all this helps people with the heart, but it does show that you need to work on it. You need to work on yourself, okay, which helps the heart. And so, anyway, anything I can do about the geometry, I'm willing to. So that's really.
So I was just thinking, what, with the new presentation of the new shape. Sorry, by the way, for the echo. I'm going to mute you for now, and I'm going to ask you a question. So my thought on the new shape of the heart that you just presented. Could it be that it maybe is linked to our interdimensional travel? That in order for the humanity to be able to go into space, for example, and be able to handle extended periods of time and space and be able to handle things with less gravity, that our heart's shape is going to evolve into something different. That's just my thought that came to me, that as we're evolving as species into a new type of humanity, perhaps the heart is the key, as I said, the maestro or the conductor of the whole navigation system of where we're headed. And you have to unmute yourself, sorry. Let's make sure you're, yeah. Oh, Frank, you're still muted, sorry. So you have to unmute at the bottom here where it says audio. So the sound is off for you. Let's see. No, your sound is off, so we have to unmute you at the bottom. Not yet. The little audio button.
How's that? All right, so can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so I don't really know how to answer that, but I do know that there isn't anything on the planet yet that has any indication of how the heart will change its shape. Okay, so I'm really out. I'm one of the Earth that's done that. Okay, now what that indicates for our future is that if we work on our problems that we bring to the heart, it can maybe go into this shape. This shape has to come from us. Okay, it's not going to be something we're born with. It's got to be something that we can develop here, and when we cross the threshold to go on the other side, we'll be able to take something new. Okay, and that's what the other side wants. They want something new. They don't want everybody just copying Platonic forms. Okay, they say we're sick of copying. You guys don't copy our nature anymore. Make something new for us. So one of the things that we can do is to transform our personalities, our temperaments, and so forth, and our hang-ups, or what do you want to call it. And the heart's there to help. So the more that we help the heart, I think the more it can change its shape into a more, would it be more efficient, or would it be more sensitive? Would it be more in tune with the spirit? All of these are possibilities, and in that I showed how the protocol that I followed can become a 10-sided shape heart. It's very interesting, and it's not made to, I'm not making this to show everybody has to have a new shape. It's not that. It's just that there is a possibility in the human to be able to do such a transformation.
And what are those steps?
So I kind of, that's all I plan to present to
The
you
people
guys.
would sign up to learn more about it through your work, through your website.
Yeah, I have a website. I have on YouTube. I have over 100 videos. So all you do is say Frank Chester. Just do YouTube and then say Frank Chester, and they come up. So there's that. If you look at that, and if the more people that hear about this, the more they'll realize that there is an intelligence there is a design connected to the heart. Okay, this just didn't drop out of the sky like a raindrop. Okay, it had a structural integrity based on platonic forms that have been here for, especially during the Greeks and the Romans. And then all the way back to the first time that a child, a girl or a boy, took a stick and drew a line on the beach, sand. That's where geometry started. Okay, and it's gone all the way to here, and only now the Chestahedron is here. And why is that? And now the Chestahedron is showing how it can change its shape. Now, I just hope that people just realize that the heart is so important, and it's not a pump, it's not a machine. It's a living blood transforming spiritual feeling based on love, and it's based on wisdom. That's what we got in us. Every one of us has got it.
That is so beautiful. And I agree with you 100%. Actually, I don't know if you're familiar with some of the work from HeartMath Institute, where they look at heart coherence, heart intelligence, and your work ties in so beautifully with your discovery and contribution to evolution of humanity, where we really are headed. Many talk about this 5D raising consciousness, which is really all about living in your heart and in your conscious, mindful, loving center that exists within divine center, divine intelligence that exists within each and every one of us. Do you want to talk briefly about what that means for you living in that space? And after the discovery, how has that shaped and changed your life? And by the way, you have to unmute yourself again.
How it's changed my life?
After your discovery and the process of learning.
The first thing is that I've been doing this for 25 years, and I've never stopped. I've maybe taken 6-7 days off a year, and I missed it. So the most important thing is that we must bring into our life something that we can develop enthusiasm, because enthusiasm really runs the heart. Enthusiasm is what it's all about. You need to find something. You have to find geometry. You have to find something that you can bring enthusiasm and warmth and happiness to your life, and that will change other people. And that's a heart-centered drive, is to find that for your life. And so I found that, and of course the Chestahedron has done wonders for me as far as that, because there's more to go. I mean, I got lots more to go, and I look forward to every moment, and that I can do anything to help anybody to think about their heart in such a way that it's full of wisdom, and it's full of love, and it's full of feelings, and it's not a pump, it's not a machine. Let me tell you about these AIs. These AIs, okay. I'm going to relieve some people about worry about AIs. AIs will never be humans like they're trying to develop. And why is that? Because it will never have a heart. You cannot manufacture a heart, okay, and then put some kind of liquid into it, because the blood is not a liquid, and that is more than a liquid. Okay, it's your ego, it's you, and no IA is going to be you. Okay, and there's no way to make any chemical that will go through a heart, okay, that will generate feeling. The only thing the AIs are is they're a moving copy machine. So all you have to worry about is that the person that puts the copy into it, okay, isn't trying to be destructive. That's our only worry, is the person that's making it and what they're putting into it. But they'll never put a heart in it. No artificial heart. No such thing. Even though you say, well, the Chestahedron, he's trying to make an artificial heart. I am not. It's impossible. This is just the very archetype, the basic drawing, the blueprint of how whoever worked this through started with.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. I wanted to go back to something you shared earlier, that when an embryo is developing, that the blood flows through the veins, and actually the heart is outside of the embryo. And then at about 18 to 21 days, the heart drops inside the embryo. And I think that that is the miracle. And somehow this divine design is divinely created that way. And I wanted to hear if what you have to share about that, and then perhaps also talk about the macro and the micro, how our heart sits at a tilt inside the chestahedron, and how it also mirrors the earth axis tilt as well. And I'm wondering also, like, when the earth shifts, the tilt changes, perhaps that could also be connected to the shift in our heart shape as well. But you have to unmute yourself first.
You hear me?
Now, yes.
Okay. Okay, the heart sits in the body at 45 degrees according to the X-ray. See it? So if I take those red lines off, they're 45 degrees. You can see that the X-rays show that the heart is sitting at an angle. Okay. So there's the heart in the cube. So if I show you that view, that's 45 degrees. If I show you this degree, that's 45 degrees. And the top is also 45 degrees. But that's not the way the heart sits in the body at 45. It sits at root 3, which is 35 degrees. So here it is in the cube, and there it is sitting at root 3. So the Chestahedron, okay, sits in a cube. The heart sits in a cube. Now the cube is gone. Okay, this is the archetype. This is a basic design why the heart is put in the human body at 45 degrees, only on root 3 face. But the actual heart, okay, is three-dimensional. All right, so the reason that it sits at this angle is because this is the balancing of 3 directions. It's balancing. The heart moves in 6 directions at the same time. At the same time, it moves 6 directions. It moves up and down, right and left, and forward and backwards. And that's why it's at an angle, because that's root 3, and root 3 is the balance that the human being has got to work on now. It's not a brain balance anymore. It's a heart balance. So let me see if I can get them real quick. So you have the lady out in front of the justice courts or any other courts, and there's 2 scales, right? They're going like this. That's the brain. The heart is at root 3. That's the balance between up and above, above and below, right and left, and forward and backwards. And this is the new balance. It's not just this anymore. It's not just doing this, it's polarities. This is balancing the polarities. Root 3. That's the angle that the heart sits in the body. That's the angle that the Chestahedron sits in the cube. And the cube, okay, which is gone, okay, doesn't have to be there anymore. We have to develop this kind of balance. I put the Chestahedron in a globe. Okay, the Chestahedron is in the earth, according to my research. It is in the earth. Okay, it's the heart of the earth. So there are 3 points up here and 1 at the apex. It's just like the heart. Okay, so what I found when I did this was that at the top, okay, the whatever you want to call it, but the energy from the sun, okay, there's lots of names for it, but it comes in through the top. Okay, it comes in through the North Pole, and it goes down to the South Pole at the apex, and then it turns the energy turns up from the apex and goes back out around the outside, and that's the aurora borealis. And the aurora borealis is not coming from the sun, okay? It's coming from the earth. The aurora borealis you see comes from the earth. And that's what I found.
Like it's a result of the Earth's heartbeat.
What's that?
It's a result of the Earth's heartbeat.
That's right. That's right. So the earth is alive. It has a pulse. Not like our heart. But that shape is in the earth. I studied the different ways that the currents move from the form, which has to do with the way the earth water currents move. Okay. It's also right here, that point right there is Kansas. And out of that point comes the energy from the form. And that's Tornado Alley. Right where Tornado Alley goes. Once I turn the Chestahedron, it follows where Tornado Alley is. And that's where Dorothy was. You know? In Kansas. So that's kind of what you're asking is correct. That there is this tilt of the earth too. Well, it's 30. I think it's 22 degrees, where the Chestahedron is around 35. But there's a tilt. It's not just doing a straight up and down thing.
Incredible. So, and where can people find more about your work? And also, I know that you have a book that is on your website. Do you offer any kind of courses online for people who want to learn more? And perhaps for those who want to order your geometrical shape, like do you sell geometry shapes that you've created, the Chestahedron and the bells?
Well, first off, my website is frankchester.com. You go. About the 7. Is there 7 in here? Okay. It's frankchester.com. Okay, that's my website. And in there I have sculptures that are for sale. And that helped my research. Of course, just to tell other people about it. And also I've got on the internet, I have how to make the Chestahedron. how to cut it out of paper and put it together. So that's all free. I've let everything go for free. The whole discovery is free. I also have made a pyramid meditation chamber based on the heart, not based on the Egyptian pyramids, which is all there is. All the meditation chambers are all based on pyramid, 4 sides. This is based on the Chestahedron, and that's right where you sit in the meditation chamber is at the heart level where the 6-foot star is. It has 12 edges all the way around, and I sell a kit. It's $300, and then you supply the pipes. So that is something that can be ordered. But just the idea is to let people know that the heart is not a pump, it's not a machine, never going to be one, and that its basic plan comes from very, very ancient geometry, and even today, a new shape has come.
That is very beautiful.
I just thank you for what you do. For what your people tap into your website and what you're doing is really great. And the people you've had that you've interviewed, a lot. Thank you very much for helping me. You have helped me.
Thank you so much, Frank. It's been truly an honor, and I am excited for the world to discover. For those who are not familiar with your work, I think now more than ever, people need to learn more about your discovery and the life, the fresh, childlike, that's what you talked about, connecting to that inspiration that exists within you and bringing meaning to the world. And it's almost like the work that you're doing is giving a breath of fresh air to humanity, especially at this time of chaos that's going on in the world. It's a reminder to really stay connected and work on yourself. And it's a pleasure to have had you on with me today, and I'm excited for people to learn more about your work. And I actually want to order the kit and a sculpture. I will do that. I would love it. This is instrumental. Thank you so much. And you are muted again, sorry.
Well, thank you very much for what you're doing. Thank you for your insight, and you're helping me, and you're helping so many people by making the opportunity for them to see that there is something going on, okay, that's not mechanical, okay. I've never used a computer once to do any of this work in 25 years. I discovered the Chestahedron before there was a computer. So thank you very much for being who you are. Thank you for watching.
Thank you.
Bye.